Can agree that we love positive stories, and certainly one is happening right here in the city of Louisville, Kentucky that affects the entire globe in a positive way, and that is the story of WaterStep. With me now is Mr. Joe Jacoby. He is with WaterStep. He is a volunteer. Thank you for what you do, Joe.
Thank you.
And also Isabel Eisenhart. Welcome, Isabel. Appreciate you coming. I think we should begin by saying that usually you would see Mark Hogg here.
Yeah.
And Mark Hogg is quite the showman and a great representative for WaterStep. However, he's a bit under the weather. We wish him well, but you guys are going to do a great job. We'll have some fun with this because it is, once again, such a positive story. So, first of all, WaterStep.
Yes.
It's about clean water. A little overview, Joe, in your words about what WaterStep accomplishes.
Sure. John, WaterStep is a nonprofit based here in Louisville. 25 years now is our anniversary this year, in 21. And we are focused on producing safe water around the world, and we combine that with training of how the local people manage the safe water, as well as maintaining health and hygiene practices and proper sanitation. So we cover many facets of the water treatment and ingestion and sanitation.
And when a national disaster or whether a global disaster hits, whether it be a hurricane, whatever the case may be, or tornado, as we saw in Mayfield, we can talk about how you impacted them. But one of the first things that really is problematic is the water supply, clean water, and making sure that things are bacteria-free and that we don't have infections that start to spread because it happens everywhere during every disaster. It's just tough to get to. So, Isabel, let's talk a little bit about that. You know, I would like to jump right to the chase here and talk a little bit about Mayfield and what you all accomplished there.
So I've been working in disasters for several years, and as a team lead for Reach Out Worldwide, I had it down right away, and we connected with Mark because I knew that he had this amazing Water on Wheels card in store, and as in every disaster, the first thing is trying to secure a source of safe water. And we were able to get this cart down there basically immediately. And we were working so hard with Inspiritus to provide safe water for first responders at the I guess the Graves County Health Department. So we supplied like hundreds of gallons for showers, and then we found out about meal preparation. There's such a need for safe water as well, and in order to produce so much at a time, we needed this Water on Wheels cart because we can produce like thousands of gallons per day. And they cooked, I think we connected with, what was it called? The Mercy Chefs, and they produced, I think, 1,500 meals per mealtime. So it came down providing, thousands.
Amazing. What you can do with what you see right in front of you. You're the engineer guy, Joe. So talk a little bit. She mentioned, I'm a little slow, but I get the acronym. Okay, WOW, Water on Wheels.
Right.
And so how does this work? You told me you're a little bit of a techie here, a little bit of a nerd. It's okay. It works. So tell me how it works.
Yeah, I'm the WaterStep nerd. A lot of times when there's a disaster, the first instinct is for people to send water, and that can be cases and cases and truckloads of water. But that also leaves a huge waste issue following it, because you've got all the empty bottles,
plastic containers,
everywhere, so you're adding to the problem. To do things such as prepare meals or showers or laundry for all the disaster workers as well as the citizens whose lives have been disrupted, we can produce safe water for those uses by doing some very simple things that we built primarily for the developing world.
Okay, so although it's for the developing world, it can work in Mayfield and Western Kentucky, and it was needed and it happened. So how does this exactly clean the water?
Okay, we have several devices here. One is a device that we call, simply enough, the bleach maker. And it is a device that uses common table salt. If you remember your chemistry, John, sodium chloride. So that's got chlorine in it. And this device takes and produces frees up the chlorine and makes a bleach solution.
Which is a disinfectant is so important, because especially in a hospital situation when people are hurt, which I can't imagine the numbers that were hurt and needed to be hospitalized in Western Kentucky. So that helped there. Now the water is another kind of a chemical conundrum.
That's right. Yeah. That is correct. Using some similar but slightly different technology, we use, again, sodium chloride. Table salt is our chlorine source. And by using, again, some electricity, we can use this device to circulate water, chlorinate it, make it safe to drink. So this can result in hundreds or to thousands of gallons a day that can be used just from this simple little machine.
Thousands of gallons a day.
Yes.
And the work that you do in Eastern Africa, Haiti, wherever the case may be, all of these are valuable in all locations.
It's exactly right.
Wow. It's amazing.
And we've really discovered the uses, and it's being recognized that our equipment is safe to use, being evaluated by the EPA and other organizations that say this could be a tool in our toolbox to have as we go. I worked the disaster in Puerto Rico after the hurricane there a couple of years ago. They funded to have one of these disaster kit setups in each county. And they have that. We've trained the people in the county to use it. And now it's on standby anytime they have water shutdowns. They can bring that into action.
What I love about this, it's the old saying of the old adage about, hey, you can give them a fish or you can teach them how to fish. And so this stays, and this continues to do good long after WaterStep is gone. And you can help. It's a nonprofit, folks. If you're thinking now about where should I give my money, I want to give. I want to do something positive as I close out the year. This would be a great way to end the year and feel good about what you're doing. We're going to talk more about that. Whenever there's positive things happening, then WaterStep is present, and partnerships are vital. You can be a partner. You can be a rainmaker. We'll talk about that. And you can help. You can help WaterStep. And whenever positive things happen, usually there are partners involved. And in this case, that is exactly what happened, because we have with us from UPS, Mr. Jim Mayer. Jim, welcome to the show.
Glad. Thank you for having us.
I'm so glad that you're here. And of course, Joe Jacoby, who you met earlier, who is with WaterStep. Okay, let's talk about this partnership and how it not only helps the globe, which makes perfect sense to me. UPS, you guys are global
company,
but also right here in the state. And I know that commitment is important to you. So which one? Let's go first. Let's talk about some of the work that you've done in Eastern Africa. I guess we should probably start. I'm out of line here. Let's start, first of all, if you don't mind, Jim, with how this partnership developed. How did it begin?
So this goes back to about 2017 when the UPS Foundation made its first grant to WaterStep, and we helped them improve their production facilities, I believe, so that they could do more of what they do. And really, the reason we get involved is because WaterStep is here in Louisville. UPS's airline is headquartered here in Louisville. We have employees that volunteer.
That's right.
And it's all those volunteer hours, then that's the opportunity to make a request for funding, and then the rest is history. And so we've done 2017, we'll talk about Africa, and even just in the past couple of weeks in Mayfield, Kentucky, we've been able to help WaterStep and help the people in Mayfield as well.
What I think is important to establish here, Jim, is the fact that UPS is approached all the time by charitable organizations, and most of them are worthwhile, certainly. But you chose WaterStep for a reason, because the impact is obvious. They're very transparent about how they spend their dollars. So I'm sure when you vetted WaterStep, you were probably, even just as an individual, as a person, you were amazed about the work they do, right?
Oh, they do just incredible work. And really, the best vetting is our employees. When our employees say it's worth my time to go volunteer with WaterStep, to make my donations to WaterStep, we track all that actually internally as a company, so that when WaterStep or another organization comes and says, we'd like to apply for a grant, the first thing we do is go take a look and say, how many hours have been donated? How many hundreds? How many thousands of hours? And I know we have thousands and thousands of hours from hundreds of employees at UPS working for WaterStep.
That does speak volumes. It does. Yeah. And Joe, for you, I talked about the positivity of UPS, and if there's anything positive happening in town, UPS is involved. But for you, to be involved with UPS for WaterStep, which is such, a respected entity, to be partnered with UPS is a natural.
Yes. WaterStep's in the water, the teaching, the sanitation, because UPS is in the logistics of getting something from one place to another. Our stuff has to be in country somewhere to make it work.
That's right.
So it's a great partnership.
Natural.
By working with someone who can actually get the stuff out of our shop across the ocean and get it to, for instance, Africa.
Yeah, let's talk about Eastern Africa.
This summer, we sent over 600 pieces of water treatment equipment via UPS, who so kindly took it from our shop and got it to our warehouse in Kenya. And that area will serve the countries of Kenya, Tanzania, and Uganda in the region around Lake Victoria.
1.7 million people were positively impacted.
Right now.
Wow.
We plan more equipment to go over. There are 30 million people who live on the banks of this part of Lake Victoria.
So the good work continues.
The work continues. It's by far done. And it's not just us dropping off or UPS dropping off equipment. We partner with our water ambassadors, people that WaterStep has trained and is able to evaluate situations and communities and say, this is where it is. Train the local people to maintain and use this on a daily basis. It's not something I do or that we do from Louisville. It's done
there we go.
There, in country.
Make sure they're able so that the good work continues. Jim, I know this is important to you, so with our final minute here, tell us about the work you've done here in the state in Mayfield. The disaster was overwhelming for all of us, and to see some of the footage that we had here on Wave 3 was just like mind-boggling. It's like, oh my gosh, the devastation. You guys stepped in.
So, the first thing that goes through our minds is, how can we help? Both as a company and as individuals as well. We had employee groups outside of Louisville wanting to contribute to our employees who are in that Mayfield area. But we've contributed hundreds of thousands of dollars, both in cash, but more importantly, in-kind contributions, which means we have trucks. We need to get things down to Mayfield, like the wild cart. And so that's really where the value can come in. I checked, and it's been at least a dozen vehicles, semis, the smaller delivery vehicles. It's peaked, so even a few rental trucks, because of course, we're kind of busy this time of year. But obviously wanted to find and did find the ability to help the people in Mayfield and other parts of Western Kentucky.
So look how when Jim and Joe's get together, positive things happen. And I love that. WaterStep and UPS, as I said, if there's something positive going on around the globe or right here in Louisville, Kentucky, or in Mayfield, Western Kentucky, then I promise you, UPS is involved, as is WaterStep. And if you want to feel good about where your dollars go, give to WaterStep today. Hey, look at that. We got a little code up on the screen. Just put that phone up there and give generously. You want to feel good going into 2022 is a good way to do it. Okay, coming up here, we're going to talk to some teenagers about their involvement with WaterStep. So the youth are involved. It's all good news here on Wave 3. Listen. Gets it about giving back. Certainly these two young ladies to my left do, and that is Allie Castor. Allie, welcome to the show.
Thank you. And
Lexi Jacobs. They are volunteers, teenage volunteers, who are helping out WaterStep around the globe and here in the state of Kentucky. Okay, we're going to go one at a time here real quickly. Allie, first you. How did you get involved? What drew you to WaterStep?
Well, my sister led Teen Board before she graduated, and that's pretty much how I got involved, and she handed that to us after she graduated.
So you obviously believe in the cause?
Yes.
Okay. Did you know anything about the water crisis before? Because part of this with WaterStep is education, isn't it?
Yeah, it definitely is. Before I got involved with WaterStep, I definitely did not know very much about the water crisis, but after I just got to learn about that, and that was such a cool part about WaterStep.
So you knew what they did. You knew the pause said, I want to get involved, which I love. Okay, Lexi Jacobs, you're up. So for you, it's different for everyone. You can choose any charity you like. You chose WaterStep. Why?
Yeah. I first got involved in 5th grade for an exhibition project, and I chose the topic of water scarcity and clean water. And then I found WaterStep and had a little Zoom call with Mark. And I don't know, it just really interests me, and I think it's really sad that I can have running water day and night, and then there's people who have to travel hours and hours to get water that might not even be clean. So I think it's really important that we can do all we can to help them.
It's obvious you both understand the mission.
Yeah.
And you have to admit now, Mark has a little bit of charisma, so if he gets you on a Zoom call or an interview, you're all in, right? Yes. His energy is unbelievable. Can we agree on that, Joe?
Absolutely.
We miss Mark today, but believe me, he is here in spirit. Okay, so let's talk about these shoe drives. Okay, so how do they help? What has to happen? Tell folks who are not aware about these shoe drives how they work.
Yeah, so after you donate your shoes to WaterStep, we try to fill up a semi-truck full of shoes, and they get sold to an exporter, and then all that money goes to fund our water projects.
Oh, I see. Okay, so how do you get other folks involved here? So Lexi, if you want some of your friends to participate, how does that work?
Yeah, so first, I get on like the WaterStep website, and they have a lot of like contact information, and like you can go and get a box, and then you just like, hey, I'm doing a shoe drive at blah 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 store, and then you're just like, you want to come, and then you just get a group together and go and see how many shoes you can collect.
Fantastic. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more about it.
We also have, John, standalone boxes that a business could set up in their place of business and just have their customers drop off shoes. And if they call WaterStep, we'll come pick them up and give them a new box.
Yeah, I would think this would be a good way, Joe, and I think, ladies, you would agree as well, for companies to bond and do a little team building, because you say, hey, if we do this together, I'm curious, there's more benefits than just clean water and making sure that areas are bacteria-free that have been affected by natural disasters. You probably make some friends, too. Lexi, have you made friends?
Yeah, I mean, I met her and her sister and all these people through the teen board, and I think it's really interesting how well we can all bond together over like service and something we love.
Yes, and Allie, and I mean this, I wouldn't say this just because you're here. There is something about your generation, and I don't know if hopefully we were involved, your parents, people my age were involved, but you seem to understand the importance of giving back.
Yeah.
How do you articulate that? Is that true?
Yeah, I think so. Like, I brought my volleyball team to WaterStep a couple years ago to sort shoes, and they were all just super encouraging and excited about the mission, and it was just really fun. It's a great team bonding experience, and also a great source of service hours for people that need that, and it was just super fun and just a great way to build community together to support a great cause.
You know, Joe, yeah. I think you'll agree with this. And I was talking to, before she left, our president, Neely Beneputi of the University of Louisville. Right. She was saying that they survey all the freshmen at the University of Louisville when they come in and say, what are your goals? And always in the top three, it was to give back to the community. What better way than WaterStep, right?
WaterStep. And John, these shoes, this is not just a make-do kind of an activity. The selling of our shoes raises about 20% of our operating budget.
Wow.
That allows our donors, more of our donors' dollars, to go toward projects, to build equipment and fund equipment placement in the world.
That makes perfect sense.
So the shoe department is a critical need.
All right.
And being a dentist, I got to say to my dental brothers out there who have shoe boxes, thank you, guys.
There you go.
Keep them coming.
There you go. Keep going. So if someone's watching right now and they want to give to WaterStep or they want to give shoes, is there a place they can go right now and stop off some shoes?
Absolutely. Yeah,
Okay.
You can donate them to WaterStep, and there's also boxes all around Louisville that you can donate to.
Yes.
All righty. Allie, Lexi, thank you very much.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of your grandfather, just letting you know, Dr. Mark Lynn. See, your generosity is in your DNA, as it is with you as well. I'm sure your parents are fantastic. Thank you for what you do for WaterStep. Yeah. Much appreciated. Since 2003, 5 million people have been impacted. We talked about a few of these disasters that we're all very aware of. Hurricane Ida, Haiti. Let's talk a little bit about some of the projects you've been involved in, Joe.
Well, I've been, since I've been with WaterStep, about 15 to 20 countries, setting up water systems, or as being a dentist, also doing health missions along the way. One of the more recent ones was after the hurricane in Puerto Rico 2 years ago, where it was similar to Mayfield, except it was many miles wide across the island. And setting up water systems, training the municipal workers in each county how to treat water. And now that's a fixed part of the toolbox of the water systems in Puerto Rico.
So you go into these countries, and you mentioned Puerto Rico, and obviously you probably have a language barrier there, but positive impact is something that is globally understood. It's in our human DNA.
Yes.
Talk about that positive when you see people who are in need of water, how appreciative they are, and probably, I'm guessing, very eager to learn how you're able to make this magic happen, right?
Absolutely. WaterStep never goes into a country with the equipment and saying, we're WaterStep, we're here, boom. We go in with a network already established of people on the ground who invite us to come in, use our equipment, set it up, and instruct the local people how to use the equipment. And interesting enough, John, it's the women in almost every country that take it upon themselves to run the water equipment, to provide safe water for themselves, their families, and maintain the health of their family. And sometimes cultural differences do take some time to overcome because they're not used to that. For instance, if what is normal for folks a lot of times with bad water is to have belly issues, belly pain a lot, they think that's normal because normal happens most of the time. So when we get them into getting into safe water, we reduce that type of intestinal problems. They get healthier, and they realize it's the water that made the difference.
I would think, Joe, that has to be rewarding for you because you're someone, you mentioned the fact you're a dentist, and so you're very familiar with health-related issues. When you come into a place that has been devastated and you see the need for water and the need for bleach and cleanliness, and you see the impact that it makes for you, that has to be rewarding.
Absolutely. One reason I volunteered at WaterStep about 11 years ago was because it was healthcare related. WaterStep, you might think, is a water company and they do things with shoes, but actually it's a healthcare company. We are the basic of healthcare. Health comes from having good nutrition and good water supply. And if those are not there, all the medicines in the world doesn't take care of the problems.
Joe, thank you for the work that you've done. You mentioned 11 years, so you're very familiar with the impact that dollars can make. For folks who are out there watching right now and they say, I want to be a part of this. I want to start 2022 on a positive note and have that feel-good feeling. How can they become and define what is a rainmaker?
Oh, sure, John. A rainmaker is a special little program we have for donors who pledge a certain amount of money every month. And so
it can be $20, $100, $500, whatever. Yeah.
They make it rain. They make water start to come. That's why we've called them
very appropriate rainmakers.
They bring water from heaven, but with their dollars we can use and build and support the missions of WaterStep.
And the fact that you've worked with them for 11 years, as I mentioned, we all have choices as far as charitable organizations.
That's
you
right.
could have given your time to someone else.
Sure.
It could have been health related. But you know WaterStep, you've seen where the dollars go, and it's impacted you in a personal way.
Yes.
So for those out there who aren't familiar, you can verify you're doing good work when you give to WaterStep.
Yeah. And my team of volunteers, let me put in a word for them.
Sure.
We have all kind of folks who help us in the shop to build the equipment. I have a group of talented retired engineers who just are amazing. We even have patents on some of the stuff that we created in the shop. We have teachers, we have all nurses, we have all sorts of folks who come in and want to make something that will make the world better.
All right.
With something they've done with their hands.
Joe, I appreciate your time. Once again, WaterStep, you can check out what they do right there. There's the website. And of course, once again, there's the QR code. Put that up against your phone there. Give generously. Feel good about it because I promise you, WaterStep is doing good work that you can feel good about. You're making a positive impact. Be a rainmaker.